I'm Terrence James, you're watching another episode of Neutral Reviews. And today we are driving the brand new 2024 Acura Integra Type S manual. And the reason why we want to do it today is because we lived with this for a week and I want to review it for you and tell you why I think this is by far my favorite sports sedan of all time. So we are going to take this for a launch, take it for a short drive, tell you all about it, take it on the twisty bits, highway, park it, and then lead to our final thoughts. So first, let's do our traffic light Grand Prix acceleration test where we race up to that fake stoplight as fast as we can just to hammer on the brake. Speed limit only. So here we go. All right, well, I am my own launch control. Put it in first. Let's put this in Sport Plus because that is the most fun. All right, and here we go. And hammer on those brakes. Ooh. Pass. Puts down the power really well, and those are strong, smooth brakes. So let's take this for a drive and tell you all about it. All right, we're off. So let's talk about the story of the Acura Integra Type S. Well, the Acura Integra has been out for a while. The original one back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. And in that latter part, you had the Type S, which was incredible because that's starting to come into the area where you had the Gran Turismo video games were so popular, and the Fast and the Furious and things like that. And the Acura Integra and the Civic Type R were legendary back then because they were semi-affordable, everyday cars, front-wheel drive, light, nimble, that sounded incredible, that you could aspire to drive, and they were tons of fun. Well, it's kind of the same and kind of different nowadays. They've used the same nameplates, but now they're big, giant plug sedans, but still light for nowadays. Front-wheel drive, very nimble, and still sound pretty good. Hold on. Listen. Listen to those pops all day. So yeah, it still sounds good. It's still lightweight, front-wheel drive, and semi-aspiring. They've gotten a lot more expensive nowadays, but still it's based off the Civic. So now what to say about that nowadays? Well, this is Acura's new halo or flagship car because the Acura NSX is no longer, it's been retired. So this is it. This is their top car, and Acura is like Lexus to Toyota. It is a premium version of Honda. So this is basically a Civic Type R that's been a little bit more matured but still a ton of fun. So what are you looking at? Well, you're looking at probably realistically around $60,000 Canadian MSRP plus fees and taxes. Not the easiest car to get. It's not numbered like the Civic Type R, but Acura does say they're not going to sell a ton of them as well, just to kind of keep that same kind of idea. Now, what do you get? Well, you do get a whole bunch for that amount of money, such as the legendary 2-liter turbo inline-4 dual overhead cam, fake VTEC, 16 valve, aluminum heads, aluminum block, direct injection, and just amazing amount of power and smooth. Incredible engine. You're looking at 320 horsepower, which is 5 more than the Civic Type R, and 310 pound-feet of torque, which can rocket this 3,200-pound sports sedan, which is a little more plump than the Civic Type R, from 0 to 60 in around the same, about 5.5 seconds. You're looking 13-something seconds in the quarter mile, which is really moving, especially for a manual. Yeah, what else? Well, that all runs through this slick shifting, best manual, 6-speed manual in the business by far, and through that front wheels with the helical style limited slip differential to help put that power down. What else are you going to do to help put that power down? Well, you got those 265 width tires all the way around and super sticky. You got Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's. Those are incredible tires. You got big Brembos up front, nice looking with the Acura badge on there. And you've got independent suspension with adaptive dampers. So you are looking at multi-link in the rear, strut in the front, and those multi-link adapters do work pretty good. So check this out. So when you go into, it always starts in sport, but you can go down to comfort, and comfort is actually going to be one lower than the Civic Type R in the sense of more comfortable. So basically the sport in the Civic is going to be the comfort here, and etc. etc. So it's going to be a little bit stiffer for the Civic Type R and a little softer on this one, but all in all this is plenty stiff, as you can see from the B-roll when you go over some speed bumps, but on the highway and things that we'll test, it's totally fine. it's really, really great suspension that way. So anyway, you're looking at an amazing chassis. This is the 11th generation Civic chassis, so it's very, very rigid, which is going to give you low noise, vibration, and harshness, really stiff for safety, and rigidity for sportiness. Now, you're looking at a 107-inch wheelbase. This thing is huge. So compared to that original Integra and the little shoebox Civic, you're probably, without exaggerating, like a full 12 inches longer, probably about half a foot, wider, and a couple inches higher on this thing, and about 800 pounds heavier. So it's definitely different, but the same, because it's front wheel drive and still nimble and sounds great. But you are going to be limited in that trunk. You're about 25, give or take, cubic feet worth of space, which is good in there, but it's a deep one. As you can see, I almost fell in. It's like a shallow swimming pool, and there's surprisingly no power outlet back there for this type of sportback. It's more like you know, a hatchback, so that's surprising, and not a lot of tie downs, things like that, but a lot of space. And then you come into the back seat, so you got tons and tons of leg room back here, but for some reason they decided on this, compared to the normal Integra, to remove the middle seat. Not that a lot of people sit there and they put the cup holders there. I don't really know why, but yes, keep that in mind. And I don't think that they expect people to sit back there very often, because you don't have any vents, and there is no plug-ins back there either, so that is a little strange. But when you come up front here, this is where the magic happens, and it's all about this 6-speed slick shifting manual transmission. I mean, it is the absolute best in the business. You're not going to get any better than this one here. But what else do we have? Well, you've got technology, because this is an Acura and this is the premium version. So of course you have the digital screen on here, which is really nice up front, but it does not have the shift lights like the Civic Type R. And compared to my Mark 8 Golf R, there's not a lot of customization in there, but there is some good information. Like, I really like this PSI here, and of course the other performance things that you can get there, and to see how long till you run out of gas, because it's not going to be the best vehicle on gas. I'm just going to warn you on that. You're probably going to average in the low 20s. And of course you've got all kinds of practical things in here, cup holders and glove compartment and things like that. I love the cockpit feel, and you've got all kinds of other technology. You've got heads-up display. This infotainment is missing navigation, but most people who use wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and the wireless charging to keep all that going in here. And you even do have an individual mode, so if you do want to keep it in the fun for everything, kind of like my Nuremberg mode in my Golf, yet keep that suspension from rattling your teeth, you can do that as well. No sunroof on this, because they say that it's more rigid and more sporty. I believe them, but don't believe them, because they told me that on the Golf, and then the Mark 8 came out and they put a sunroof. So yeah, you explain that to me. Anyway, let's take this out for further testing on the Twisty Bits highway, park it, and then lead to our final thoughts. All right, we're off on the Twisty Bits, and I think that this really is the category where this car shines, and probably why you're buying it, because you know, you can't have your super fun car anymore, but you're still an enthusiast. You want a good looking fun car that's got a lot of practicality and some decent looks. Well, that's exactly what you got here. Now, one of the claims to fame for this car obviously is this 2-liter engine, because it's got so much power in the helical style limited slip differential, because that puts that power down. So we're going to come up to a corner here, and that's really what I want to show you, is this limited slip. It still is a front wheel drive car, but watch this. We're going to give it some gusto around this corner here, and it's wet outside too. So you saw there, I wanted to push out a little bit, but again, it's wet outside, and I really gave it, but not like you would expect. It really puts that power down. When it's dry, it is absolutely incredible. Now, when we're talking about mid-range power, look at this. So we got in the Sport Plus mode. Let's just drop it down here. Like, look at this. Squeals the tires third. Squeals the tires again. So yes, it is a little wet outside, but you've got all kinds of power. And one of the other favorite parts, as we were showing before, is that, let's just do it again, hold on. Love those pops. Yeah, you got power all day long with this, and that limited slip differential is absolutely incredible. Okay, we've got a couple more corners here, so here we go. It just holds so level and planted, and it just puts that power to, oh, it's just so responsive, just on a nice edge. Like, this steering is so sharp, and these Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's are so sticky, and 265 width. I mean, they really are planted. You got them on all 4 corners. Yeah, this is really impressive. And again, this is why you want to buy something like this. I just traded a 2020 Subaru BRZ Sportec RS manual. And one of the reasons why I really love that car is because it felt like, for the first time out of many, many cars I've driven, one of the reasons why I bought it and fell in love with it is because that car felt like you were in the car and not on top of the car. So we just traded that for a brand new 2024 Mark 8 Golf R manual last year for the manual. So we're really excited about that. Hopefully we'll do a review on that after this, in a Civic Type R, which we have coming up next. But I don't know, the point of like what I was saying is why I fell in love with that BRZ was because it really, really felt like you were part of the car, you were connected to the car, like you were bolted into the car, you were another piece of that vehicle. And everything came at you and communicated to you. The steering wheel, even though it was electric, talked to you. The brakes, those Brembos talked to you, and your bum talked to you because you felt like you were connected to the chassis. It was really, 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 really a special vehicle that way. And one of the things that I really like with that BRZ as well is it's so low and so flat and so light and so nimble, and that is exactly how this car feels. Like, I feel like I'm on a skateboard, I'm super low, and that's part of the driving position as well, because like my BRZ, they purposely put you really, really low in the chassis here. I do have this seat in the lowest setting. I am really short on a 5'7", feel like I barely see over the steering wheel, and I got this big long 1970s hood. I feel like National Lampoon's dad. I can't remember his name right now. Clark Griswold. That's how I feel driving this with the kids in the back. So anyway, but no, it is a fun vehicle to drive. And like I said, when you're going around a corner, if you're doing some spirited driving on track or something like that, it does have lift-off oversteer. So what that means is that this thing here is going to slide around a corner like a rear-wheel drive car. But one of the things is that I really like with that and my BRZ, especially if you're new to driving that way, is it was really neutral and planted. So when it came around on you, it felt like something that you could easily control. It felt like the car wanted to right itself and get straight again. And not because of electronic gizmos, just the natural weight balance of that chassis. So yeah, this is an absolutely incredible car and how it handles, how it sounds, and the acceleration, but you also need it for some practical reasons. So let's take this on the highway and see how it does there. Okay, it's time for a highway and handling test to see how this thing does there, because you're going to want it to be comfortable as well as fun. So here we go. We're going to drop it down a sec. We still haven't Sport Plus because, you know, why wouldn't you? Because that's the most fun to get on the highway. But just look at this. No body roll at all. I'm rolling, but this car definitely isn't. It's absolutely amazing. Going faster than you should be, of course. And this, again, this limited slip differential. All right, what kind of mid-range power? All kinds. Yeah, getting on the highway is absolutely no problem at all. So, but because you're on the highway, you're probably going to want it to be comfortable. So let's put this into comfort. So the thing I really like about this car is it's very much like the Mark 8 Golf R that we just got, in the sense of it's two different animals. It really is. Because of this adaptive dampers and the way they have the engine tuned and the steering, it is incredible actually at how different extremes you can get. So this car here in comfort mode is actually very, very comfortable. So we're going along here at highway speeds, and I'm going to be quiet. Difficult for me to be quiet, that's why I have to hold my lips shut. A bit of a talker, that's what my mom used to say. Anyway, yeah, no, it works great. Very, very quiet in here. And that, again, the Acura, and part of the reason why it's a little bit heavier is a little bit more sound deadening and things like that. So very, very comfortable, quiet place to be. As we said, it's very spacious, especially for the front passengers. Now, if your back passengers are my height or under, that's 5'7", they're going to be fine back there. If you're just using it for kids, again, there's plenty of leg room. It's not so much the leg room that's the issue, is because of that nice sporty sloping rear end with the Sportback, you do lose some headroom back there. But nonetheless, it's fairly comfortable for shorter trips for the people back there. But longer trips, it's about 3 hours or so, give or take, for me to pick up some of these vehicles between London, where I live, and the far side of Toronto. And it's very, very comfortable. I really, really enjoyed being in here. Now, one thing that I was a little bit surprised about is it's only power seats over here, which a lot of cars, my Volkswagen does the same thing to try to save money because not many people are sitting over there. But what does surprise me is, this being the luxury version, is it's not memory. on this side, which I find frustrating because I've been getting in and out of the car a lot to show people this awesome car, and of course they all want to sit in it and they move the seat, and it's hard to get that exact spot that I like, especially with the manual, because you really want to get that just right. Now when we talk about that, like I said, seating position even on the highway here is great. You can raise the seat if you want to sit up a little higher, you can sit lower. It's got lumbar, 2 different settings. It's really, really great. Yeah, I like it that way. And the safety system, we were talking about the RDX, which was a little weird because the RDX, it does have lane centering, but it was more like, we'll keep you closer to the center of all lanes because it put you to closer, it hugged the line closest to the left to you. So I felt a little unnerved because I always felt like it's a little too close to the traffic beside me, where this here works really, really great. So you just simply turn on the system, which basically is laser guided cruise control. I shouldn't say laser, I don't know what kind of system, but anyway, it's cruise control that's adaptive, and you set it for the speed that you want. Now if you want to do the steering and let the vehicle do that, you hit the little steering button here and it will steer for you within reason. What I mean by that is no Tesla from the future. It's not gonna, you're not gonna sit in the back and play guitar or something. But if you just want to kind of relax a bit, still holding on, or just kind of stretch a little bit, you can definitely do that, because I just took my hands off the steering wheel and it yelled at me. So, but no, it is really nice and comfortable for things like that. And of course, you can adjust your chevrons, or I'm calling them chevrons, basically if you want to tailgate the person in front of you or not. You know, it does. It works really, really good. It does actually let you, for the most part, let go of the steering wheel for a few seconds, and it is not super aggressive. It does let you get fairly close to the other people, and it's all in all a really good system. I really enjoy it. And when we talk about auto rev matching as well, it's a little frustrating because you have to shut it off while the vehicle is in park. But it is nice that you can turn it off if you want to do that yourself, because the pedal placement is nice. I have about 8.5 size feet and I can do it myself, but you know, it always is nice to have that system there. And it also does have brake hold as well. So if you're somebody that's new to driving manual, or you really like this car, don't be intimidated because of the extra power it has. And when you let go of the clutch, which is a really smooth clutch, it's heavy but not too heavy, because I got stuck in a bunch of traffic and it got heavy after about an hour. But I would rather have it heavy because it's sporty. But it wasn't like the Ford Focus RS where it was a real leg workout and I was walking like a cowboy for a few days after that review. No, this is just a nice happy medium on here. All in all, a very, very practical, comfortable car. But how is it in the city? Because you got to get this big boat around. Let's park this thing in an underground parking lot. Okay, we're at the mall. Let's do some parking in the underground parking. Okay, here we go. All right. Now, I didn't want to do another parking because it was terrifying, because this is not the easiest thing to get around in, because it is pretty long for a car nowadays. All right, so let's see if we can find a spot here. All right, so first thing I just want to show you is how bad this turning radius is, because in these turning garages, sometimes they're not the easiest thing to get around in. All right, so just look at this. So, like, it is really, really hard to see over that hood and pretty long. All right, so let's park beside this pillar here. All right. All right, so we got dynamic lines, which is good. Not the most clear camera. It does work pretty good. All right, fairly accurate. And we can park it. Pass. All right, let's start with our final thoughts, walk around of the things that we like and don't like about this. So, first off, how can you not love the looks? And 3 tailpipes. So let's listen to how they sound. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it really looks the part back here, and especially the wide body. Absolutely love the wide body. A little bit different of approach than the Civic Type R that it's built on. This has got more stuff stuck on it, and instead of the actual metal work being brought out, but it looks amazing. It looks kind of like a Japanese Hellcat or something. I love it. Now, the only thing I wanted to mention about that I kind of think is interesting but miss is this vent here. Boo-hoo. I like it aesthetically, but I did learn, at least performance-wise, when you come around to the front here, that this big gaping hole down here that looks awesome has the same kind of canards and things that will accomplish what that vent would on the front for kind of redirecting that air and kind of preventing lift and cooling the brakes and all that kind of stuff. So while we're up here anyway, let's just take a look at this awesome front end, because this whole car I love the look of, and especially this vent. I've always wanted a car with a hood vent like that to let out all that hot air from this amazing 2-liter engine. I love the embossing That is also awesome. GR Corolla does that. Awesome. And of course, just the overall profile. I think this is a really kind of a sleeper look. It's kind of a Mercedes-ish Civic Type R. I don't know, I really like it. It's kind of like why I bought the Golf. It's under the radar, but the people that don't know what they're looking at know that they're looking at something special. I like they got the Acura Brembo brakes on there. Yeah, I just like the whole package. But one thing that I don't like is this sloping rear end, although it looks great and everything else in the sport back. Check this out. So when we lift up the hood here, or the trunk I should say, it's really deep in there, awkwardly so. Yeah, so there's lots of space on there, but it's hard to get things in and out. And there's no power outlet back there and not a lot of places to tie stuff down. So I don't know how useful it is if you're actually hoping to use this a lot as a daily driver in that way. So similarly, if you got kids, you can see from the B-roll, I can get Baby Moose in there just fine. However, I am surprised that this being built on the Civic, the back door doesn't open up further because it would be easier to get that in there. So, and also when you come here, ooh, so I got tons of leg room because this is a 108-inch wheelbase, almost the same size as that RDX. But this is the problem right here. I'm only 5'7", and if my head's hitting, then all my normal size friends would definitely hit and not be comfortable. So I think if you just got a couple kids back here, and that's all you're using it for, or you really don't care about your friends, or they're short, then you're just fine. But what if they like to breathe? Oh, sorry, they're not going to breathe. There's no ventilation back here, and again, it's a premium vehicle. Come on, Acura. I think that's unacceptable. And yeah, and no plug-ins either. So I don't make a decision. Either you think people are coming back here or not. This is kind of, I don't know. And again, I don't mean to be mean, but I'm just trying to be honest. This is the cheapest looking pleather I've ever seen. I wouldn't be happy in a 1990s Kia product. No offense to Kia, but they're not charging 60 grand either. And they eliminated the middle seat, which I get because not a lot of people actually sit there, but why would you not just keep the cup holders there so you have an armrest for the two people that are stuck back here? I don't get it. Anyway, that's my rant back here for that. So let's move to the front of the vehicle and tell you the things I like and don't like there. Well, the number one thing I like is yellow. The world's best 6-speed manual. And this driving position. Best driving position outside the Mazda Miata. I mean, if you got to have a car where you got to stick other people, this is it. You sit like you're down low when you're driving. How we mentioned, you actually feel like you're part of the vehicle. I've got great visibility. Aside from the 1970s hood in front of me from Clark Griswold, as we said, it's not like the BRZ or the Mazda Miata with those cool humps. That's the opposite of that. But I know I'm driving something cool in this thing. And I do. I like the look of it. I love the cockpit feel. I like that there's still hard buttons. I'm a little amazed that it doesn't have navigation, but a lot of companies are doing that just because of the price point. So there's no real point, especially if they're giving you the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay and things like that. That was one thing that I found a little irritating. But what I did like was those rumbles out the back, we'll say that politely, when you change the mode into Sport Plus. That was pretty awesome. And from my understanding on the Civic Type R that we're reviewing next week, it doesn't have it, which again doesn't make a lot of sense since that's supposed to be the sporty one. And no sunroof on these. Boo-hoo. It would be nice in the luxury version of this car, but it is what it is, and I don't think you'd turn this car down, which leads me to my final thoughts. Is I thought that this was going to be the world's greatest sports sedan, and I would agree. I'm a huge enthusiast vehicle type person, hot hatch type person. That's why I bought a Mark 8 Golf R the last year of the manual, and had a BRZ and et cetera, and I've been blessed to drive a lot of fun cars, but this is the cat's pajamas. It really is. It makes me feel as close to the Mazda Miata driving experience to me, which is the purest that I've ever been in this type of practical vehicle, and it's got great looks. So I'd have to say, if you're in the market for something like this, I would get your hands on it if you can. The only real downsides, like I said, it's not as practical as it could be, and it's not the best on fuel, and it's missing the sunroof if that's something that you're looking for. But all in all, I've got to say, you could not go wrong with this vehicle. And if you do like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications, and check out one of those other linked videos, because it really does help, and we really are enjoying doing this, and we'd love to do it even further. So we love bringing this content for people that are looking to learn and for people that are looking to buy. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again next time.